Hi everyone, this tutorial is going to go over the steps that I took to create this type of futuristic dome structure. And so right here I just have a preview in my rendered mode, and if you see here with all the curves, that's kind of the steps that we're going to take. So I'm going to clear this up and start from scratch and give you an idea of what it takes to create something like this. Okay, so this is how I'm going to start the model. I have a scale person, and as you can see, I have no layers created. I'm going to start from scratch. So let's create a new layer. Let's call this geometry. So this is going to be the initial dome geometry. So I'll call it geometry 1, and I'll make it a bright color so it can stand out and I can see it. I'll start at 0, 0, 0, and I'll go over. Let's make this a large dome. Let's make this something like this. Let's see, 400 inches. Okay, so what we want to do now is create the profile that we're gonna be sweeping around. So let me copy this up the distance that I want the let's see how tall we want the dome. Something like that. And so we can go from the center to the quadrant, go here, extrude curve, and create that. So we know that that's going to be the top, and we're going to create the dome shape. That's how we're creating it. And other videos have created it in different ways, but let's do it this way. So let's put the construction plane on that and call this geometry 2, where we're going to create it's going to be the cross section. You want to go start point here, end point, and direction to create the shape. You can delete that initial the plane, and then put the construction plane back at the initial place, which is at the world top, and that puts it in the world location at the top where we initially had it. So now let's go ahead and create the dome. New layer, call it dome. We're going to go ahead and keep it in that layer color. So what we want to do is sweep 1, select the rail, select the cross section. Once you hit enter and OK, you'll see that you've created now the shape that you want. If that's not, you can also give it, a different looking shape. You can make it kind of crazy. I just want to make a straightforward, simple looking dome. So let's go zoom all extents, and that's the shape we have. That's about the size. We are then going to move this up and create the bottom part like you saw earlier. So let's go back to shaded. Alright, from here what you want to do is hide the dome for now and create a new layer called pattern. This is going to be the pattern that we're going to use for projecting. This is what we're going to be projecting. We're going to do a hexagonal looking dome. So to create an easy hexagon, you go to polygon, number sides 6, and just create one, and you just copy it over and over. Make sure you have your snaps. Just keep it on the endpoint. That way it's a lot easier to create copies and not make any mistakes. So you go here, you go there. Alright, now that we have the pattern, it's a matter of making sure that we take it from here and we move it, we move the exact center of it to a place that is either in the middle or at the exact intersection. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that from that intersection here, go to the top view, and project it, make sure that it's exactly in the center. And we can see that this line here and that line there are pretty symmetrical, and that's because that'll make sure that everything is developed correctly. So once you have the pattern there, you can go ahead and create the points that we're going to project. So I'm going to type in PTS for points 1, and I have that pattern selected. I'm going to go extract point. Now we have points. Oh, make sure that you have that layer selected. Select the objects, extract point. Now if you type in select duplicate, you'll get rid of all the redundant points that you have there, and that way you can select these objects, group them, and then do a new layer called points 2, which will allow you to keep that initial pattern and then project the other ones up. So select the objects here and type in project, and make sure you don't delete the output, or you could if you wanted to, and then select the dome. Now we have pattern and points that we can hide. We can hide that dome. Oh. Okay, let's do that. And now we can start creating the I guess the rest of the geometry. So geometry 3. Let's go with the green again, because we're projecting that green. And then let's go here. Project? No. We're gonna do this one. You see that's the center. You want to get rid of that here. And you want to just make sure you only have points selected. So that's one little mistake I make sometimes. Oh. So what you want to do is hit polyline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and C, enter for close. And so that's the way that it kind of works there. I'm going to go down one line here. Then we can take this whole row, since it's symmetrical and we placed it exactly in the middle, from that point to that point, it should be right on, and it is. So let's go down the row in the middle. and that's the section where we want to create. So let's select, what you want to do now is select the geometry here, and we can go ahead and actually mirror this fairly easily here. Oh, what's wrong there? Oh, that's not the center. That's correct. That's the middle here. So what you want to do is select, if you go, let's try this. Select the geometry, and let's mirror. You have to mirror this way from here to here. That way you see it creates that one. See that? And you want to go from here to here, create that side, and all we have to do is fill in the middle here. Once you have those mirrored, then you want to do geometry 3, or geometry 4. That way you can distinguish from the other ones and you can lock them. Let's do it again. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you have that, you can select it, and now we can clearly see the line you need to mirror from. Select those objects, go from here to here, and if you select that and you go from here to here, we have successfully select those objects. You can change them back to that layer. Now we have the entire dome shape. There is another there are a few other steps that we're gonna have to take, but this is kind of the base of it. This is the geometry that we're gonna develop. So one other thing that you want to do here is maybe change that one to planes, and if you select those objects and you type in planar surface, oh those were not planar. Huh, interesting. Okay. Once you have that geometry, then what you want to do is create the base of it. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer called base. Call it base 1. And we want to create the outer perimeter. Okay, so now that you have those, sorry about that. So now that you have those two curves created, you created this one and this is existing, we can go ahead and loft them together. Loft them together, which is going to give you an option of where to do it. If you see a straight section, that's usually a good sign. If you have one here and one somewhere else, it's not a good sign. Let's do a loose preview. Okay, that looks good. That looks like a nice base. And we have successfully created the base geometry, which if you go to rendered, it's starting to look pretty cool. So let's go back to shaded mode. And with this geometry, you can go ahead and select it, select objects, and just explode them, and select duplicates. It's going to get rid of all the copies, and that way you just have the geometry. So let's go ahead and create the structure. So let's go to structure, type in structure 1 for a new layer, or I mean you can name these whatever you want, but this is kind of the steps that I like, these are just the names that I usually give them. So for the structure, let's keep it there. Let's keep it let's keep it black, and then let's select those objects. And what you want to do is type in pipe, and make sure you have them all selected. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do an additional step. So once you have that, let's go to we don't want it to be flat, we want it to be round so the connections look correct. The thickness, thick, I don't really know what that does, but let's just go on diameter. Let's make sure it's a 3.5 inch structure. Let's see what that looks like, which it actually looks pretty cool. Okay, so we can go ahead and hide that geometry, and show you what it kind of looks like in rendered view. It's actually an interesting large structure that, you know, you can even take this off and make that the door, there's so many different ways we can go about developing this. But for now, we can go ahead and go to shaded view and you can take all of those things. If you don't want them, you can get rid of them. I put it all under kind of one, we have let's type in dome, and dome structure, and then let's put, I put the structure below that, I put the base below that, and then for this one we're just gonna do geo, we'll just call this the sketch, whatever. So we can go ahead and take all that and put it right under that and just hide it and forget about it, just in case you need to come back or whatever. Okay, so we have this, and I like to, let's lock that guy and move this up 15 feet. That way, look, we have the guy down here and our structure is going to be up here, and we don't really know what we're going to do, but we know it's going to look really cool. So we have that. We got to move on to creating the walls. Okay, the way that I do that is the exact same way that I did for creating the dome. So the reason why you want to sometimes keep your geometries, because see that is exactly below. So I want to copy some of that. I want to copy that, copy object to this layer, and go ahead and hide my sketches. So now I have this, which I can bring up 15 feet. And so now I have I almost have my wall. If I just loft that together, I do have kind of like a surface that I can kind of work off of. So let's do that. Let's just keep this lofted wall here, just so we have an idea of where the walls are going to go. We can go ahead and start creating the profile. So let's type in profile. Let's type in, actually, let's call this wall 1. make it a layer that color we could see. And what you want to do is take this curve and extrude it. Extrude, curve, take that curve. You can not that way. You want to do it direction this way. That's a little bit long, but it'll help with what we're trying to do here. Once you have that, you could even move it back, but no, we're good for now. In this wall, we're gonna create the profile. So let's put our C-plane there. C-plane, surface. That's where our C-plane is gonna go. Construction plane. And we want to duplicate the edge of this and start playing with the elevation. So I know that at 36 inches I want something, at 3 feet I want something. I know I want keep that line there and hit Alt up and go to 10 feet. And then we're going to put another one at 12 feet. This is going to act as a guide so I can snap to it when I get to that point. So let me show you what I mean. I start there and I just generally go out like 4 inches, you know, go up 5, back 1, up, can do like up 28, over 1, up, let's see, 3, oh, and now we're there. Then we go back 3, or we go back 2, we go all the way up to here. We can do perpendicular. We go over 1, up 5, over 1, up 3, over 1, or over 2, up 8, over 6, and then I do like an arch. Actually I can do that later, so let's just keep it with with lines. A line here, and then we want to create the kind of overhang. Let's do like a 12-inch overhang, and up 8, no, let's do actually 13 inches up, then 14 inches back, up, and then like that. Okay, now we have those. I like to do this, or no, it's fillet, and we'll just make a 4-inch fillet and a 2-inch fillet. Pretty straightforward, simple, nice profile that actually I would like to close off, so you have a perfect curve. So now you want to put the C-plane at the bottom again, delete that, make sure you have that bottom, that base edge, so duplicate edge, dupe E, there we go. Now we have that, and we can go ahead and sweep 1, select that. We have a nice base structure for this dome. Let's give it a nice, okay, and now let's bring our guy back. It's a pretty cool dome. Okay, but let's do the hardscape. Let's do the ground. Make that a bright layer so you can see it different than everything else. Go ahead and duplicate the edge here. you want to hold Alt and Shift and then bring it up. What that does is creates a copy and it scales it up. So now you have this. You can see if that's what we want, we can go ahead and loft it. And now we can go ahead here again, extrude surface, no, extrude curve, and create the plane of where the stairs are going to go. So we take it from that corner, bring it here, from here to here. We're going to create some stairs. Hardscape 2. C-plane, surface, there we are. We can go ahead down 6, over 24, we'll make them big steps, down 6, over 24, down 6, over 24, and then let's see, that'll create 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. So let's do one more. 6, and let's just kind of keep going there, and then close it off by going all the way around here. And you could even, you know, bring it down as much as you want by doing something like this. So you want to keep them close, that way we can, when we sweep it around, it's a solid object. So let's do that again. Duplicate at the edge here, and let's sweep this around. That all of a sudden becomes our hardscape. Once you swept that around, you have kind of the base. You can start creating doors and things. So that's just kind of the beginning. I'm gonna further develop this dome and put up some more videos. So just a small idea of what it would look like. One of the things you can do is go in here, type in planar, planar surface, take that. Now you have the interior floor. And if we go ahead here, this is what we ended up with on the render. It looks pretty good. So I hope you learned something in this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the development of this dome.